Hello, and welcome back to Today English Podcast. My name is Laura, and I'm here to guide you on your journey to clear, confident, and natural English. If you're new here, make sure to hit the subscribe button so you never miss a lesson. Your support truly helps this channel grow. All right, take a deep breath, relax, and let's begin today's session. I want you to imagine something with me. Imagine that you wake up before the world becomes loud. The sky is still dark and the air feels soft and cool. There is no noise of cars, no voices, no notifications, no pressure. Only you. Only your breathing. Only the quiet hour that waits for you. This is the hour that shapes your day and maybe even your life. Today, I want to take you on a long, gentle journey through this quiet hour, and I want to show you how a simple morning routine can change the way you think, act, and feel. I want to help you practice English in the calmest, clearest, and most natural way, almost like listening to a story whispered by a friend sitting next to you. So sit back, relax your shoulders, breathe slowly, and listen as I guide you through a simple story about mornings, habits, and small choices that become big changes. I remember a time in my life when my mornings were a complete mess. I would wake up late, rush out of bed, look for my things, and worry about everything I had to do. My mind was full of noise before my day even started. I felt tired, even when I had slept enough. Maybe you know that feeling. Maybe you also open your eyes and feel stress before your feet even touch the floor. And maybe, just maybe, you want something different. You want mornings that feel peaceful, slow, refreshing, and full of purpose. But creating a morning routine can feel difficult. You might think it must be perfect, long, or complicated. But in this story, we're going to learn something important. A morning routine doesn't need to be perfect. It doesn't need to be long. It only needs to be yours. It only needs to feel good to you. It only needs to give you a gentle push toward the life you want. Let me take you into the story of a person named Anna. She is like many of us. She wants to improve her English, she wants to feel more organized, and she wants to stop waking up with stress in her chest and confusion in her mind. Every night, she promises herself that she will wake up early and start fresh. But every morning, when the alarm rings, she hits the button, closes her eyes, and falls back asleep. And then she wakes up late again. She feels guilty again. She rushes again. Her day begins with chaos again. One evening, after a long and tiring day at work, Anna sits on her bed and whispers, "Why can't I do this? Why is waking up early so hard for me?" She thinks about giving up. But in that moment, she remembers something a friend once told her. If you want to change your mornings, you must first change the story you tell yourself. That sentence stays in her mind like a small light in a dark room. She wonders what it means. Change the story? What story am I telling myself? She lies down and listens to her own thoughts. She hears a story that she didn't even know she was repeating. I'm not a morning person. Mornings are hard. I'm too tired. I can't wake up early. She hears the story of someone who believes she is stuck. And suddenly, she realizes something important. Her mornings don't control her. Her story does. If she changes the story, maybe she can change the routine too. That night, she decides to write a new story, a small one, a gentle one. She writes down one sentence. Tomorrow morning, I will wake up slowly and peacefully, even if I only have 5 quiet minutes to myself. She doesn't promise anything big. She doesn't promise to meditate for an hour or run 10 kilometers or read 10 pages. She simply promises herself 5 minutes. And she promises herself a peaceful start. When the morning comes, the alarm rings. Her first reaction is the same as always. She wants to hit the button, close her eyes, and sleep again. But then she remembers the new story. She remembers the small promise. Not a perfect routine. Not a long routine. Just 5 minutes. She opens her eyes, breathes slowly, and sits up. The room is quiet. She feels tired, but she also feels proud. She takes her 5 minutes. She stretches her arms. She drinks a small glass of water. She looks out the window. For the first time in a long time, she feels calm in the morning. And in that moment, something changes. She feels a small spark of belief, a small feeling that maybe she can create the morning she wants. The next day, she wakes up again. She still feels sleepy. She still wants to stay in bed. But she remembers the story she is writing, the new one, the one where she is the person who gives herself time in the morning. So she sits up again. She takes her 5 minutes again. After 5 minutes, she feels good. She decides to read one short paragraph in English. Just one. She reads slowly, listening to each word. It feels nice. The day feels a little bit easier. And again, the small spark grows stronger. This is how a morning routine is born, not from perfection, but from small kindness. Not from pressure, but from gentle repetition. Not from long tasks, but from short, simple moments. As the days pass, Anna starts adding small pieces to her morning. Sometimes she practices English listening for a few minutes. Sometimes she writes one sentence in her journal. Sometimes she sits with her coffee and enjoys the quiet. Some mornings are smooth. Some are messy. Some days she wakes up early. Some days she is late. But she keeps her promise. Even if she only has 5 quiet minutes, she gives them to herself. And slowly, her mornings begin to change her. One morning, she wakes up before the alarm. She sits up with ease. She stretches. She smiles. She doesn't rush anymore. She doesn't feel lost. She feels present. She feels calm. She finally feels like her morning belongs to her. And that is the moment she understands something important. A morning routine is not about doing many things. It is about giving yourself space to breathe, space to think, space to live with intention instead of reaction. It is about choosing the direction of your day before the world chooses it for you. It is about creating a soft beginning instead of a stressful one. As she continues this routine, Anna begins to notice small changes in other parts of her life too. She feels more focused at work. She feels less overwhelmed. She feels more confidence in her English learning. She listens to English podcasts in the morning while she prepares her breakfast. She repeats words slowly, letting her mouth move naturally. She feels proud of herself. She feels strong. She feels like she is growing. And whenever she feels tired or unmotivated, she reminds herself, I don't need a perfect morning. I just need a beginning. And that is the message I want you to take from this first part of our long story. Your morning routine is not a test. It is not something you must master. It is not something you must do perfectly. It is simply a gentle moment you give yourself every day, even if it is only for a few minutes. It is a gift, not a punishment. It is a calm beginning, not a strict rule. You don't need to wake up early. You don't need to do many things. You only need to start small, start simple, and start softly. Because when you change your morning story, you change the way your entire day feels. And as you listen to this story in English, you are also creating another routine, a listening routine, a speaking routine, an English routine. One that will grow stronger and better every time you come back. So take a breath. Relax your shoulders. Let this story continue to guide you. There is so much more to explore. And your morning has only just begun. When the second morning of our story arrives, I want you to imagine the first soft light touching the edge of the sky, the gentle light that does not shout, does not demand, but simply invites you to begin again. This light is the kind that Anna starts to notice as she continues her journey of building a morning routine, and it is a light that you can imagine in your own life too. No matter where you live, no matter what your schedule looks like, no matter what challenges wait for you outside your door. On this morning, the air feels cool, almost like it's holding a quiet secret, something that belongs only to those who wake up early enough or gently enough to hear it. Anna wakes up, slowly as always, and sits up with her small promise still alive inside her. 5 quiet minutes, nothing more. But this morning feels a little different. When she opens her eyes, she notices something she never paid attention to before. The light. Not the bright, loud sunlight that comes later in the day, but the soft, early morning light that looks like a whisper on the walls of her room. She realizes she has lived many years without ever truly seeing this moment. And she wonders how many quiet moments she has missed in the past because her mornings were full of rushing, noise, and stress. As she sits with this gentle light, she begins to understand something important. A morning routine is not only about actions, but also about awareness. It is about noticing the world before it becomes noisy, noticing your breath before it becomes fast, noticing your thoughts before they become heavy. She sits for a moment, breathing slowly, letting her feet rest on the floor, feeling the coolness of the air, hearing the silence of her small room. She realizes that this silence is not empty, it is full. Full of possibility. Full of intention. Full of space. She has never started a day with this much space before. She smiles without even thinking about it. And she whispers to herself, I like this. I really like this. She gets out of bed and walks to the window. When she opens it, she feels a soft breeze touch her face. She closes her eyes for a moment and lets the air wake her naturally, gently, without pressure. She thinks about how different this morning feels compared to the many mornings she used to live. Before, she would wake up with noise in her head, her mind already running before her body was even ready. But now she starts with stillness. And from that stillness, she begins to build something new. She takes a deep breath, the kind that fills her lungs and makes her shoulders relax, the kind that tells her body you're safe. You're okay. You're beginning again. After a moment, she pours herself a small glass of water. The sound of the water feels calming, almost rhythmic. She drinks slowly, feeling the coolness move through her body. It wakes her up in a clean, simple way. She remembers something she read long ago, that water helps your body restart after sleep. But now she doesn't just know it with her mind, she feels it. She sets the glass down gently, not rushing, not thinking about the next task. Just being here. Just being present. And in this simple act, she understands something she had never truly realized before. Presence is part of a morning routine too. When you are present, your routine is not just something you do. It becomes something you experience. Today, she decides to add a new small element to her morning. Not something big, not something heavy, just something that feels right. She chooses to step outside for 1 minute. Only one. She opens her door, steps onto the small walkway outside her apartment, and listens. The world is still quiet. The sun is not fully up yet. The sky is a soft, pale blue. She hears a bird somewhere in the distance, singing a song that sounds peaceful and warm. She stands there quietly, breathing in the cool air, letting her body soften. She notices things she never noticed before. The smell of the morning air, the silence before people wake up, the way her own breath sounds when she breathes slowly. These are details she has walked past for years without ever seeing them. But now, because of her gentle routine, she finally sees them. And they feel like gifts. As she stands outside, she thinks about her English practice too. She remembers that she wants to improve little by little, not in big jumps, not with pressure, but with small moments of listening and speaking. She decides that after her 1 minute outside, she will listen to a short English audio clip. It doesn't need to be long. It doesn't need to be difficult. It just needs to be part of her morning, part of her story, part of her growth. She goes back inside, sits on the edge of her bed, and plays a short English clip on her phone. She listens carefully, slowly, letting the words move through her mind. She repeats a few phrases softly, not worrying about perfect pronunciation, not worrying about sounding like a native speaker, but simply letting the language live in her mouth for a moment. The words feel warm and calm. She smiles. She is practicing without stress. She is learning naturally. She is learning like a child learns, slowly, softly, with curiosity instead of fear. When she finishes listening, she closes her eyes and takes one deep breath. She feels proud again, but this time the pride feels deeper, stronger, more stable. It comes from the small habits she is building, habits that feel like kindness instead of pressure. She didn't force herself to do anything. She didn't fight with herself. She simply added one tiny step to her morning. And that tiny step made the whole morning feel richer. She realizes something important. A morning routine is not created in one day. It grows slowly, like a plant. You water it a little bit every day. You give it light. You give it space. And one day, you look at it and realize it has grown into something beautiful. As the days pass, Anna continues to build her routine in small, gentle pieces. Some mornings, she wakes up easily. Some mornings, she wakes up tired. Some mornings, she forgets one step. Some mornings, she starts late. But something is different now. She doesn't punish herself. She doesn't feel guilty. She simply starts again, wherever she is, however she feels. She brings kindness into her morning, and that kindness becomes a habit too. She learns that a routine built with kindness lasts longer than a routine built with pressure. She learns that small steps done every day matter more than big steps done only once. She learns that starting small is not a weakness, it is a strength. One morning, something interesting happens. Anna's friend Emma calls her early, before work, something she never does. When Anna answers, Emma sounds tired and stressed. She says she feels overwhelmed and unorganized, just like Anna used to feel. She says her mornings make her feel anxious and rushed every single day. And she says she doesn't know how to change. Anna listens carefully, remembering the person she used to be. But instead of giving her friend a long list of advice, she smiles softly and says, "Start with 5 minutes." Emma laughs at first, thinking it's too simple. But Anna explains, your morning doesn't need to be perfect. It doesn't need to be long. Just give yourself 5 quiet minutes. That's enough to begin. Her friend becomes quiet, thinking about this. And then she says, maybe I can do that. Maybe I can start with 5 minutes. Anna smiles because she knows the truth now. 5 minutes can change everything. After the call, Anna sits with her thoughts. She realizes that she is beginning to live her new story, not just write it. She is becoming a person who starts her day with intention, not with chaos. And that intention does not end in the morning, it follows her through the rest of her day. She feels more patient at work. She listens better. She feels more control over her emotions. She feels more connected to her actions. She feels more grounded. And all of this came from a routine that started with only 5 minutes. She thinks about how small choices can shape big outcomes. She thinks about how gentle beginnings create strong days. And she thinks about how she wants to continue growing, one morning at a time. One day, while she is preparing her morning coffee, she notices something interesting. She is no longer thinking about her morning routine as something she must do. She now feels like it is something she wants to do, something she enjoys, something that makes her feel good. It has become a ritual, a peaceful moment she looks forward to. And this is when she truly understands the power of consistency. Not the kind of consistency that feels heavy or strict, but the kind of consistency that feels like a warm blanket, light, soft, and comforting. On this morning, she adds another small piece to her routine. She writes one simple sentence in her journal. Not a long entry, not a deep reflection, just one sentence about how she feels. She writes, "This morning feels calm and good." She closes the journal and smiles. This small act makes her feel connected to herself in a deeper way. And she knows she will write another sentence tomorrow, and the next day, and the day after that. These small sentences will become a quiet record of her growth, of her journey, of her mornings. Before she leaves her home, she stands at the door for a moment and whispers "thank you" to herself. Not because her morning was perfect, but because she showed up for herself. She gave herself time. She gave herself space. She honored her promise. And she knows that every morning she continues to do this, her story will grow stronger. As she steps outside and walks into her day, she notices something important. The first light of the morning stays with her, even when she is no longer standing in it. It becomes a feeling, a memory, a gentle strength that she carries inside her. And she realizes that this is the true power of a morning routine. Not the tasks, not the steps, not the goals, but the feeling it gives you. The feeling of beginning your day with calm, clarity, and purpose. The feeling of choosing yourself before the world chooses you. The feeling of gentle control. And so, as we continue this long journey together, I want you to carry this idea with you. Your morning routine should feel like the first light of the day, soft, warm, inviting, and full of possibility. It does not need to be bright. It does not need to be perfect. It only needs to be yours. And as long as you continue to give yourself small, simple moments in the morning, your routine will grow into something beautiful, something meaningful, something powerful. And just like Anna, you will discover that the way you begin your day can change the way you live your life. On the third morning of our long story, the world feels a little different, softer somehow, as if time is moving in a calmer rhythm, a rhythm that you can almost hear if you stop and breathe slowly. This gentle rhythm is the same one that begins to shape Anna's mornings, and it is the rhythm I want you to imagine inside your own life too, a simple rhythm that guides you through the early hours like a quiet melody. When Anna wakes up on this morning, she notices something new. Instead of waking up with a heavy mind or a tired body, she wakes up with a sense of expectation, almost like a child waiting to open a gift. She doesn't know exactly why she feels this way, but she guesses it has something to do with the small habits she has been practicing, her 5 quiet minutes, her 1 minute outside, her short English listening, her single journal sentence. These small moments have become more than actions. They have become a rhythm, a gentle pattern that welcomes her into the day. She sits up and listens to the silence around her. It feels familiar now, like a friend she meets every morning. She remembers how different things used to be, how her mornings were full of rushing and frustration, how she used to feel like she was chasing the day instead of leading it. But now she feels calm. Not perfectly calm, not always calm, but calm enough to take her first breath with intention. She stretches her arms slowly, letting her body wake up step by step. She feels grateful for this slow start, grateful for the soft light touching her curtains, grateful for the quiet that gives her room to think and feel. She stands up, walks to her window, and opens it gently. The cool morning air flows into the room and touches her face. She closes her eyes for a moment and allows the air to wake her fully, naturally, without any rush. Today, she decides to give herself a few extra minutes before she begins her day. Not because she must, but because she wants to. She feels that her mornings have become a safe space, a place where she can breathe, reflect, and prepare for everything that is coming. She stands by the window longer than usual and observes the world outside. The sky is soft and pale, and the early morning sounds feel warm and peaceful. She hears birds again. She hears the distant movement of the city waking up. She hears the quiet whisper of the breeze passing through the leaves of a tree nearby. These sounds create a gentle rhythm, like a calm song that plays just for her. After a moment, she steps away from the window and walks to her small kitchen to pour herself a glass of water. She notices something interesting in this moment. Even simple actions like pouring water, taking a sip, placing the glass down feel different now. They feel intentional. They feel slow. They feel meaningful. Before, she would do everything quickly, without thinking, without feeling. But now she pays attention. She feels the coolness of the glass in her hand. She hears the soft sound of the water as it moves. She notices the way her body reacts when she drinks. She smiles softly, realizing that even these tiny details are part of her morning journey. They remind her that a routine is not just about tasks, it is about being present in the tasks. She sits down on her couch and plays another short English recording. She listens carefully, letting each word enter her mind like a small seed. She repeats the sentences slowly, practicing the rhythm of English, the gentle rise and fall of each phrase. She doesn't worry about mistakes. She doesn't judge herself. She simply listens and speaks softly, learning with openness instead of fear. She has started to love these quiet English moments. They make her feel connected, not just to the language, but to herself. They remind her that learning can be soft, simple, and enjoyable. She realizes that English, like mornings, becomes easier when you remove pressure and add kindness. After listening, she takes out her journal and writes a new sentence. Today, the sentence is, "I feel the gentle rhythm of my morning growing stronger." She writes it slowly, thinking about each word. When she reads it again, she feels something warm inside her chest. She feels proud, not because she wrote something impressive, but because she is becoming the kind of person who honors herself each morning. She closes the journal and places it beside her bed. She knows she will write another sentence tomorrow, and the day after, and the day after that. These sentences will become a story of her mornings, a story that grows stronger with each sunrise. On this particular morning, Anna decides to add a new step to her routine. But she chooses it carefully. She doesn't want to add something just because she feels she must. She wants to add something that feels gentle, something that feels natural. She remembers something she used to enjoy when she was younger: slow stretching. She used to stretch her arms, her back, and her legs after waking up, but somewhere along the way, she stopped doing it. Life got busy. Stress took over. Time seemed too short. But now, in the calm space she has created for herself, she feels ready to bring this small joy back into her life. She rolls out her small mat on the floor and sits down. She takes a slow breath, lifts her arms, and stretches gently. She can feel the tension in her muscles. She can feel the softness in her breath. She moves slowly, listening to her body, letting each movement guide her into a deeper state of calm. The stretching doesn't last long, just a few minutes, but it feels amazing. Her body feels awake, open, and light. She smiles, realizing she doesn't need to do an hour of exercise. She doesn't need to sweat. She doesn't need to push herself. She just needs to move gently. And this gentle movement becomes another part of her morning rhythm. As the days pass, this new rhythm becomes familiar. Each morning feels slightly different, but the structure remains soft and stable. Anna wakes up, breathes, stretches, listens to English, writes one sentence, and takes a moment outside. These steps create a morning routine that feels like music, simple, slow, steady, and peaceful. She begins to think of her morning routine as a dance she performs with the day. A dance that grows more natural, more comfortable, more enjoyable with each passing sunrise. But then, one morning, something unexpected happens. Anna oversleeps. Her alarm does not ring, or maybe she didn't hear it. She wakes up late, jumps out of bed, and feels the familiar rush of panic rising inside her. For a moment, she feels like the old version of herself again. She feels the stress, the frustration, the disappointment. She thinks, I ruined my morning. I failed my routine. But then she stops. She takes a breath. She remembers the truth she has been learning. Your routine is supposed to help you, not hurt you. It is supposed to support you, not punish you. She closes her eyes and asks herself, what can I do right now, even if I am late? The answer comes softly, like the first light of morning, 5 quiet minutes. So she gives herself 5 minutes, even though she woke up late. She sits on her bed, breathes slowly, and allows herself to be present. She drinks a quick glass of water. She listens to one short English sentence. She writes one simple line in her journal. Even when I wake up late, I can still begin gently. And in these small moments, she realizes she has not failed. She has grown. She has learned something more important than waking up early. She has learned how to return to herself, even in chaos. She has learned how to choose kindness over punishment. She has learned how to protect her morning rhythm, even when the day begins differently. This experience teaches her something new about routines. They are flexible, not fixed. They are living, breathing parts of your life. They change with you. They move with you. They continue even when you miss a step, even when you wake up late, even when you feel tired or unmotivated. A routine is not broken when you skip a day. A routine is broken only when you give up on yourself. And Anna refuses to give up on herself. In the days that follow, Anna becomes even more gentle with her mornings. She pays attention to her feelings. She listens to her body. If she feels tired, she makes her routine shorter. If she feels energetic, she adds a little more stretching. She keeps her English practice light and enjoyable. She stays curious. She stays consistent. She stays kind. And through this kindness, she discovers something beautiful. Her morning routine is no longer something she is forcing. It has become something she is living. One weekend, Anna decides to take her morning routine outside. She walks to a small park near her home. The sun is rising, painting the sky with soft colors. The air feels fresh and clean. She sits on a bench and breathes deeply. She listens to an English recording while watching the world wake up around her. She sees people walking their dogs. She sees a runner passing by. She sees an older man reading a newspaper. She hears birds singing. She hears leaves moving softly in the wind. Everything feels peaceful. She feels connected to the world in a way she hasn't felt in a long time. She writes her journal sentence, "The world is gentle when I am gentle with myself," and she smiles. This moment in the park becomes a memory she carries with her, reminder that mornings don't need to be perfect to be beautiful. They just need to be intentional. They need to be lived with awareness and kindness. She starts to understand that her morning routine is not only about the morning. It is about the way she lives her whole day. It is about the way she thinks, the way she chooses, the way she cares for herself. It is about creating a gentle rhythm that moves with her from sunrise to sunset. As the story continues, Anna becomes stronger in her beliefs, softer in her heart, and more confident in her abilities. Her morning routine becomes a quiet foundation, a stable anchor that keeps her balanced in a busy world. And through all of this, she carries one simple truth: the best routines are not the ones that are perfect. The best routines are the ones that feel gentle, supportive, and possible, every single day. On the fourth morning of our long story, something different happens, something that every person who is trying to build a new habit must face at least once, a day that tries to stop you. A day that pulls you away from your routine, a day that arrives with problems, noise, stress, and unexpected challenges. This is the kind of day that used to defeat Anna easily, the kind of day that would make her give up, the kind of day that whispered, "See? You can't keep a routine. You're not strong enough." But today will be different, because this time, she is learning how to stay gentle, even when life is not. It begins when Anna wakes up with a headache, the kind that feels heavy and slow. She opens her eyes and instantly knows something is off. The room feels too bright. The air feels too dry. Her body feels stiff. She sits up, but she moves slowly, almost painfully. She thinks, "Not today. I can't do my routine today. I don't have the energy." And for a moment, she feels disappointed. She feels frustrated. She feels like everything she has built is slipping away from her hands. But then she remembers something important. A routine is not a test of strength. It is a gift. And even on difficult days, she can give herself a tiny gift. She takes one slow breath, the kind that fills her chest with softness, and she says to herself, "I will just do the smallest version today." No pressure. No stress, no perfection, just the smallest version. And that becomes her goal. She stands up and touches the floor with her feet, feeling the coolness for a moment. Her body is tired, but she is not hopeless. She walks to the window, opens it, and lets fresh air enter the room. The breeze feels nice. It feels soft. It feels like the world is saying, "It's okay. Begin slowly. Begin gently." She closes her eyes and allows the moment to hold her. She doesn't stretch. She doesn't read. She doesn't go outside. She only breathes. She gives herself 1 minute of slow, deep breathing. And for today, that minute is enough. When she finishes, she pours herself a small glass of water. Even this simple act feels like climbing a small hill, but she does it. She drinks slowly, letting the cool water calm her headache a little. She tells herself softly, "I showed up. That is enough." But today isn't only about a tired morning. It is also about the challenges waiting outside her door. She gets dressed and goes to work, hoping the day will be easier. But the moment she arrives at the office, she can feel the tension. People are rushing. Phones are ringing. Her manager looks stressed. A big project is behind schedule. Everyone is moving fast, talking loudly, worrying about deadlines and problems. Anna feels the pressure start to rise inside her. She feels her breath become shallow. Her thoughts begin to jump from one worry to another. Her headache grows stronger. And she thinks, "This day is too much. I want to go home." She sits at her desk and tries to focus, but it feels impossible. Every noise feels too loud. Every task feels too heavy. Every second feels too fast. But as she sits there, overwhelmed and exhausted, something surprising happens. A memory comes back to her, a memory of the gentle mornings she has been practicing. She remembers the slow breathing, the soft light, the quiet rhythm. She remembers the 5 quiet minutes. She remembers the feeling of calm she created for herself. And she wonders, can I bring some of that calm into this moment? She decides to try. She closes her eyes for 10 seconds, just 10 seconds, and breathes slowly. She doesn't care if someone sees her. She doesn't care if people judge her. She just breathes. And in those 10 seconds, she feels a tiny wave of calm wash through her body. It doesn't solve everything, but it softens something inside her. It makes her feel a little stronger, a little more grounded, a little more capable. She opens her eyes and whispers, "I'm okay. I can handle this." As the morning passes, She works slowly and carefully. She doesn't rush. She doesn't panic. She focuses on one small task at a time. The day is still difficult. The headache still hurts. The stress still exists. But she moves through it with a gentle determination she never had before. She realizes something powerful. Her morning routine is not only for the morning. It prepares her for days like this. It gives her a reserve of calm, a quiet strength inside her chest that she can use even when the world becomes chaotic. And that is when she understands something new. Her routine is not just an action. It is a skill that is growing inside her. During her lunch break, she sits outside for a moment. The sky is bright, but not too hot. She hears the sound of leaves moving gently in the wind. She feels the warmth of the sun on her skin. She takes a deep breath and closes her eyes. She thinks about her English practice, how she usually listens every morning. She didn't have the energy today. But instead of feeling guilty, she decides to listen to something short while she eats her lunch. Just a minute or two. Something light and simple. She plays a slow English audio, something with soft sounds and clear words. She listens, not to study or memorize, but to relax. The voice feels comforting. The words feel like a soft blanket. And for a moment, she forgets her headache. She forgets the stress. She just listens. And she realizes something important. English practice doesn't always have to be perfect. It just needs to be consistent, gentle, and enjoyable. Even listening for 1 minute on a stressful day counts. It counts more than she ever realized. When she returns to work, the afternoon remains difficult. There are problems to solve, decisions to make, messages to answer. But every time she feels overwhelmed, she takes one slow breath. Just one. And each breath creates a tiny space inside her mind, a space where she feels calm again, even if only for a second. These small breaths become her secret tool, her invisible morning routine that she carries everywhere. She thinks, maybe my routine is with me even when I'm not at home. Maybe my routine is inside me now. When the workday finally ends, she feels exhausted but proud. She survived a difficult day. She stayed kind to herself. She didn't give up on her routine. She gets home and drops her bag on the floor. She sits on her bed and closes her eyes. She lets the silence of her home wrap around her. She breathes slowly, letting her body release the tension of the day. After a moment, she opens her journal. She didn't write her morning sentence today, but that doesn't matter. She can write one now. She writes slowly. Today tested me, but I stayed gentle. I didn't give up. When she finishes writing, she feels a deep sense of peace. She feels like she passed an important moment in her journey. Because routine isn't built on easy days. Routine is built on hard days. Easy days make the routine enjoyable. Hard days make the routine strong. And today, Anna became stronger. After writing her sentence, she decides to stretch for a minute. Her muscles feel tired and heavy, but the stretching feels good, like releasing a long-held breath. She stretches slowly, without pressure, without forcing, just moving gently, giving her body a little love. Then she takes a warm shower, letting the water soften her headache. She closes her eyes under the shower and imagines the morning light, the peaceful rhythm, the soft air from her window. She feels calm again. Later in the evening, she makes a cup of tea and sits near her window. The sun is setting, turning the sky into soft shades of orange and pink. She drinks her tea slowly, letting the warmth relax her. She thinks about the day and everything it taught her. She thinks about how she handled stress with calm, how she kept her routine alive even when she had no energy. She thinks about how she listened to English at lunch, how she breathed through the difficult moments, how she returned to her journal. And she feels grateful. grateful for the progress she has made, grateful for the gentle habits that are growing inside her, grateful for the person she is becoming. As she watches the sky fade into evening, she whispers to herself, "I didn't fail today. I grew." And she realizes that this is the lesson she wants to carry with her for the rest of her journey. Routines don't exist to make you perfect. They exist to make you gentle, strong, and consistent. They exist to help you stay connected to yourself, even when the world becomes loud and messy. They exist to remind you that every day is a new beginning, even the difficult ones. And so, as she prepares to sleep, she feels a quiet hope inside her chest. She knows tomorrow might be better. It might be easier. But even if it's not, she knows she can handle it. She knows she can stay gentle. She knows she can begin again. Because the routine she is building is not fragile. It is not strict. It is not shallow. It is deep, flexible, and full of kindness. And that kind of routine can survive anything. With this thought, she closes her eyes and falls asleep. And the day that tried to stop her becomes the day that made her stronger. On the 5th morning of our story, the air feels a little cooler, almost like the world is giving Anna a fresh page, inviting her to write a new beginning on it. After the difficult day she had before, she wakes up feeling unsure. Not sad, not stressed, just unsure. She lies in bed for a moment, letting the softness of her blanket hold her, letting her mind settle before she moves. She can feel the memory of yesterday still inside her body, a little heaviness in her chest, a little tiredness in her muscles. But she also feels something else, something quieter and deeper, a small strength, a small hope, a quiet belief that she is changing. She thinks about the moment last night when she wrote in her journal, the moment when she realized she didn't fail at her routine. She grew through it. This thought warms her from the inside, and she breathes slowly, preparing to begin her morning in the kindness she has learned. She sits up, but she doesn't rush. She lets her body tell her how it feels. Her head is clearer today, her breath is softer, her shoulders are lighter. She knows she could push herself to do her full routine, but she chooses not to push. She chooses to listen. She chooses gentleness. She chooses to begin again, slowly. She stands by the edge of her bed and looks out the window. Outside, the sky is still a soft gray blue, slowly waking up. The world looks quiet, peaceful, patient. For a moment, she simply watches the stillness, and she feels connected to it. Then, she opens her window and lets the morning air fill her room. The cool breeze touches her face, and it feels like the world is whispering, "It's okay. You're here. You're beginning again." She stretches her arms above her head, feeling her muscles open gently. The stretch is slow and simple, nothing dramatic, nothing difficult. Just enough movement to remind her that she is alive, that she is starting fresh, that her body can soften into the new day. She takes a deep breath, closes her eyes, and listens to the sounds outside. A single bird sings. A car passes slowly in the distance. The world is waking up, and so is she. She realizes that she loves this quiet time, this time before the noise of the day begins. She loves the space it gives her to breathe, to think, to feel. And she loves that she is learning how to protect this time, how to honor it, how to give it meaning. After stretching, she walks to her kitchen to drink her morning water. She pours it slowly, watching the clear liquid move inside the glass. She loves this tiny ritual now, something she never thought about before. But now every sip feels like a soft message from her body saying, "Thank you for taking care of me." She drinks slowly, feeling the cool water move through her. It wakes her up more gently than coffee ever did. She smiles to herself, thinking about how such a simple action can make her feel grounded. She places the glass on the counter and quietly whispers, good morning, as if speaking to herself, her day, and her routine all at once. Then she sits in her favorite spot near the window with her phone in hand. She chooses a short English listening clip. Something simple. Something warm. She presses play and lets the slow, clear words fill the room. She listens with ease now, without tension. She knows she doesn't need to understand every word. She knows she doesn't need to repeat everything perfectly. She simply listens. She lets the language flow into her ears like a soft melody. She repeats a few sentences gently, enjoying the shape of the words in her mouth. She feels calm. She feels engaged. She feels present. And she thinks English can feel like this every morning, simple, soft, and comforting. When the audio finishes, she reaches for her small journal. She opens it to a new page and writes today's sentence slowly. Every morning is a chance to begin again. She pauses, reads it once more, and smiles. She loves the idea that mornings can erase yesterday's mistakes or stress. She loves the idea that routines don't have to be perfect to be powerful. She loves the idea that every sunrise gives her another chance to build the life she wants, step by step, breath by breath. Writing this sentence feels like lighting a small candle inside her heart. With her journal closed, she decides to take her usual minute outside. She steps onto her small balcony and feels the air settle around her. Today, the air is cool but gentle. She looks at the quiet street below. A neighbor is watering plants. A dog is walking slowly beside its owner. The world feels peaceful. She stands still, taking one long breath in and one long breath out. That is all she needs. Sometimes, one breath outside is enough to remind her that she is part of something bigger, something softer, something natural. She returns inside, feeling grounded. As she prepares her breakfast, she notices something she hasn't noticed before. Her body feels different when she begins her day gently. She feels more patient, more steady, more aware. She moves with intention instead of reaction. Even simple actions, washing fruit, preparing tea, placing her cup on the table, feel calming. They don't feel rushed. They feel like part of her routine's rhythm. She is beginning to understand that the routine isn't separate from her day. It is woven into everything she does. As she eats, she thinks about her journey so far. Only a short time ago, her mornings were filled with stress and racing thoughts. She would wake up late, rush through her tasks, skip breakfast, and begin her day exhausted. But now, her mornings feel like a gentle doorway into her life. A doorway that opens softly, slowly, calmly. A doorway she steps through with intention. She realizes that she has changed not because she forced herself, but because she allowed herself room to grow, room to breathe, room to begin again. After breakfast, she gets ready for work. While brushing her hair, she repeats one English sentence from the morning's recording. She likes the way the words sound. She likes how natural it feels now. She smiles at her reflection, not because she feels perfect, but because she feels proud. Proud of the small steps she has taken. Proud of her consistency. Proud of her gentle strength. At work, she notices the difference immediately. Her mind feels clearer. Her mood is calmer. The tasks feel easier. She listens better. She reacts slower. She feels more in control of her emotions. She notices that the calm energy from her morning carries inside her like a soft light. She doesn't lose herself in stress. She doesn't panic when something goes wrong. Instead, she breathes. She remembers the gentle rhythm she practiced in the morning. And she feels steady. During her break, she sits alone at a small table with a cup of tea. She takes out her phone and listens to a very short English clip again. Just 1 minute. And that minute feels like a warm hug in the middle of her busy day. She doesn't do it because she must. She does it because it feels good. She does it because she now understands that small practice is still practice. She smiles to herself, thinking, "This is becoming part of who I am." When she returns home after work, the sunset paints the sky in soft colors. She feels tired, but it is the gentle kind of tired you feel after a full day, not the heavy tired she used to feel. She makes a light dinner, listens to soft music, and relaxes. Later, she sits near her window with a warm cup of tea. She watches the lights turn on in the buildings around her. She feels peaceful. She thinks about her routine and how it has grown not through perfect mornings, but through choosing to begin again, even on difficult days. She takes out her journal again, not because she must, but because she wants to, and writes an extra sentence. A gentle start creates a gentle life. She reads it twice, letting the meaning settle into her heart. She knows it's true. She can feel it in her mornings. She can feel it in her workday. She can feel it in the way she breathes, moves, and speaks. Her life is changing one simple, soft morning at a time. She closes her journal, takes one last deep breath, and smiles. She knows tomorrow is another chance to begin again. And now she trusts herself. She trusts her routine. She trusts her gentle progress. And with that peaceful thought, she ends her day with the same quiet intention she began it with, the intention to keep going, slowly and softly, one morning at a time. On the 6th morning of our story, Anna wakes up before her alarm, something that surprises her, something that makes her smile quietly in the darkness of her room. For a moment, she stays still, listening to her own breathing, noticing how calm she feels. She doesn't feel the old heaviness she used to know so well. She doesn't feel the panic of rushing. She doesn't feel lost. She feels steady. She feels rested. She feels ready. And this readiness is soft, not loud, almost like a warm light inside her chest that tells her gently, "Today will be good." She sits up slowly and looks at the window. The sky is still dark, but she can see a thin, pale line of light at the edge of the horizon. She feels like this small light is speaking to her, reminding her that every day begins quietly, gently, simply. She breathes deeply, letting this thought warm her from the inside. She stands up and walks toward the window. When she opens it, the air feels cooler than usual, cleaner somehow, sharper but refreshing. She closes her eyes and lets the air touch her skin. She listens for the early morning sounds, but today there is only silence. A deep, peaceful silence that feels almost magical. She whispers softly to herself, "This morning feels different." Not better or worse, just different. Softer. More open. She stands there for a minute without moving, without thinking, simply existing in the quiet moment. She realizes something important in that stillness. A morning routine is not just about what you do. It is about how you feel. And today, she feels grounded, rooted, present. When she steps away from the window, she stretches her arms slowly above her head. Her body feels awake but relaxed, like it knows exactly what to do. She stretches down to her toes, then gently to each side. The stretch feels natural, like her body is moving with the morning instead of fighting it. She enjoys these small movements more than she ever expected to. They remind her that her body is part of her routine too, part of her calm, part of her growth. She feels grateful for the ability to move gently, to breathe fully, to start slow. She breathes in deeply and whispers, "Thank you," not to anyone specific, but to everything: her body, her mind, her morning, her journey. She pours herself a glass of water and drinks it slowly, feeling the coolness travel through her. She loves this part of her morning now. It feels like an anchor, a small but meaningful ritual that tells her body, "Wake up with kindness." She touches the glass with her fingertips and enjoys its smooth texture, its simplicity. She places it down gently and stands still for a moment, letting her breath slow down again. She has learned that stillness is not empty. Stillness is full of presence. Stillness is full of life. Stillness is part of the rhythm that shapes her mornings. After drinking her water, she sits down near her window and opens her English audio app. She chooses a short, slow story to listen to. She presses play, and the gentle English narration fills the room. She listens carefully, letting each sentence flow through her. The words feel clearer now. They feel softer in her ears. She doesn't worry about understanding every word. She focuses on the feeling of the language, the rhythm, the melody. She repeats one sentence quietly, then repeats it again, enjoying the movement of the words on her tongue. She feels proud of her progress. She feels connected to the language in a deeper way. And she realizes something important. Learning English is becoming part of her morning routine, not because she forced it, but because she has made her mornings a place where learning feels safe, calm, and natural. When the audio clip finishes, she takes her journal and opens it to a fresh page. She writes her morning sentence slowly. Today I feel calm, open, and ready. She reads it again and smiles. She loves that she can summarize her whole morning in one simple sentence. She loves that this tiny habit helps her stay connected to her mind. She loves that she can see her emotional growth on paper. She flips back through older pages and notices how her sentences have changed over time. The early ones were full of uncertainty. Then came the ones with hope. Now she sees confidence, softness, clarity. Her journal is becoming a record of her transformation, a quiet map of her journey. She steps outside for her usual minute of morning air. But today, something surprises her. When she steps onto her balcony, she sees the early sunrise coloring the sky with soft orange and pink shades. She stands still, watching the light slowly grow. The world feels quiet, but alive. She hears birds starting their morning songs. She sees a soft glow reflecting on the windows of the buildings around her. The moment feels almost magical, like the world is opening its arms to her. She breathes deeply, letting the beauty of the sunrise fill her chest. She thinks to herself, this is why mornings matter. Not for productivity, not for goals, but for peace, for connection, for beauty, for the feeling of being part of something bigger than the stress and noise of daily life. She goes back inside and prepares a light breakfast. As she slices fruit and makes tea, she notices how present she feels. She moves slowly, gently, with intention. There is no rushing, no pressure, only quiet enjoyment. She feels grateful for this simple time. She sits at her table, eats slowly, and lets her mind drift softly, not into stress, but into gentle thoughts about her life, her goals, her routine, her growth. She realizes that the morning is teaching her something deeper than habits. It is teaching her how to be kind to herself, how to listen to herself, how to let her day begin with peace instead of pressure. After she finishes breakfast, she gets ready for work. As she brushes her teeth, she repeats one English sentence from her morning audio. She says it slowly, clearly, smiling at the way it sounds. She enjoys the tiny feeling of progress. She enjoys the confidence that grows inside her when she feels the sentence flow naturally. She thinks, I am learning. Even when I learn slowly, I am still learning. And she carries that thought with her as she leaves her apartment. At work, she notices something surprising. Today feels easier. Not because her tasks are simple, because they aren't. Not because the office is quiet, because it isn't. But because she is different. She feels steady. She feels balanced. She feels centered. She responds to problems calmly. She listens more carefully. She doesn't rush from task to task. She breathes softly, remembering the rhythm of her morning. Her morning routine follows her like a gentle echo, helping her stay grounded throughout the day. She realizes that she can carry her morning energy with her wherever she goes. During her break, she sits near a window and takes one slow breath. She closes her eyes and imagines her morning stretch, her sunrise, her quiet English practice. She feels her body relax instantly. She takes out her phone and listens to another short English clip. Just 1 minute. She doesn't force herself to study. She simply enjoys it. And she thinks, I am learning in small moments. Small moments matter. When she gets home in the evening, the sky is already beginning to darken. She sits in her usual place by the window, holding a warm cup of tea. She watches the day slowly fade away, the light disappearing behind the buildings. She feels peaceful, satisfied, grateful. Her day started with calm and ended with calm. She feels like she lived the day with intention, not just reaction. She feels like her routine is no longer something she does, it is something she lives. She opens her journal again and writes an evening sentence. My morning guided my whole day. She looks at the words and nods softly. She knows they are true. She can feel how the energy of her morning shaped every moment, every action, every feeling. And she realizes something new. A morning routine is not just about habits. It is about identity. It is about becoming the person you want to be, one morning at a time. As she prepares for bed, she takes one slow breath and whispers, I am proud of myself today. And in that moment, she understands how far she has come from chaos to calm, from stress to softness, from rushing to presence. Her morning routine is growing deeper roots inside her life, creating a foundation she can stand on. And she knows, as she closes her eyes, that tomorrow will offer her another morning, another sunrise, another chance, another beginning. On the 7th morning of our story, Anna wakes up with a quiet but important question in her mind, a question that seems to float gently in her thoughts before she even opens her eyes. She doesn't know where this question came from, but she feels its presence like a soft whisper inside her. What kind of person do I want to become? It is not a loud question, not a stressful one. It is warm, curious, and deep. She doesn't answer it right away. She lets it sit with her as she slowly sits up in bed, feeling the softness of her sheets, the coolness of the morning air, the calm rhythm of her heart. She looks at the window, where the first light of the sun is beginning to appear, a soft glow that pushes gently through the curtains. She places her feet on the floor and breathes in deeply, letting the fresh air of her room wake her mind. She whispers to herself, "Good morning," and the simple sound of her own voice feels like a beginning full of possibility. She walks to her window and opens it. Today the air feels warm, almost like a gentle hand touching her skin. She hears the soft sounds of early morning, distant footsteps, a quiet bicycle rolling down the street, the faint chirping of small birds. Everything feels peaceful and delicate. She rests her arms on the window frame and looks at the slowly brightening sky. She feels calm, and yet she feels something new inside her, a sense of curiosity about where her life is going, about who she is becoming through this simple morning routine. She doesn't try to answer the question yet. She just allows it to live inside her, breathing with her. She stretches her arms above her head, feeling her muscles lengthen gently. She stretches to the right, to the left, then bends slowly forward. The movement feels natural, almost like her body is waking up with the daylight. She closes her eyes as she stretches and hears that question again. What kind of person do I want to become? The question doesn't make her anxious. It feels hopeful. It feels like an invitation. She smiles softly at the thought that a routine so small, so simple, can open the door to thoughts this meaningful. She finishes stretching and stands tall, feeling her spine straight and her breath steady. She walks quietly to the kitchen and pours a glass of water. As she drinks, she thinks about how this simple glass of water has become a symbol in her life. It is the first promise she keeps every morning. A promise of care. A promise of calm. A promise of presence. She drinks slowly, enjoying the coolness on her tongue, the gentle feeling of clarity it brings to her mind. When she puts the glass down, she notices the morning light touching the counter in a soft golden line. She traces the light with her eyes and smiles, feeling grateful for these small details that she never noticed before she began her routine. She sits in her usual quiet spot by the window, takes her phone, and opens her English listening practice. Today, she chooses a short conversation between two people speaking slowly and naturally. She presses play, and the room fills with gentle English voices. She listens carefully, trying to follow the flow of the conversation, the tone, the natural rhythm. She repeats a few lines softly, moving her lips slowly, trying to make her pronunciation smoother. She feels the language settling into her mind like soft waves, one after another. She thinks about how much more comfortable she feels listening to English now. She thinks about how her confidence has grown, sentence by sentence, morning by morning. She hears a phrase in the audio, taking small steps every day, and feels it sink deeply into her heart. She repeats it out loud and then smiles, because it feels like the story of her life now. After the audio finishes, she takes her journal and opens it. On a blank page, she writes the question that woke her up. What kind of person do I want to become? She looks at the sentence for a long moment. Instead of answering it with a long explanation, she writes one simple thought. I want to become a calm, patient, curious person. She smiles as she writes those words, because she knows she is already practicing these qualities every morning. She underlines the words calm, patient, and curious, letting their meaning sink into her mind. She closes the journal and stands up, ready for her minute outside. When she steps onto the balcony, she notices something beautiful. Today, the sunrise is brighter than usual, with soft orange and gold colors spreading across the sky like paint. She stands still, letting the warmth of the light touch her skin. She breathes in deeply and feels the warmth settle in her chest. She watches the city slowly waking up. A few windows light up one by one. A woman below walks her dog quietly. A delivery truck moves slowly down the street. Everything feels calm, almost like the world is waking up with her, not rushing, not forcing, simply rising slowly into the new day. She whispers softly, "Thank you, morning," and her heart feels full. She returns inside and begins preparing her breakfast. She cuts fruit carefully, warms her tea, and places everything gently on the table. She moves in a quiet rhythm, enjoying the small actions that used to feel like chores, but now feel like gifts. She sits down and eats slowly, tasting each bite, feeling present in her body. As she eats, she lets her mind wander softly, thinking about her routine and the person she is becoming. She realizes that her routine is helping her answer her question, not with words, but with actions. Every morning, she practices being calm. Every morning, she practices being patient. Every morning, she practices being curious. And these small practices are shaping her in ways she didn't expect. After breakfast, she gets ready for work. As she brushes her hair, she quietly repeats one English sentence from the morning audio, taking small steps every day. She likes how it feels when she says it. She likes the softness of the message. She likes the truth in it. She whispers it again while looking at her reflection, and she sees a woman who is becoming more confident, more balanced, more peaceful. She feels proud, not of being perfect, but of being consistent. When she leaves her apartment and steps into the outside world, she carries the calmness of her morning inside her like a quiet strength. As she walks to work, she notices the sounds around her in a different way: the cars, the footsteps, the hum of the city. Before, these sounds used to make her feel tense. Now they feel like part of the background, part of a world she can move through calmly. She feels more centered. She feels more steady. She feels more in control of her day. At work, she handles her tasks with patience. She doesn't rush. She doesn't panic. She listens carefully to her coworkers. She answers with calmness, even when things feel busy. At one point, a problem comes up unexpectedly, something that would have stressed her deeply in the past. But today, she simply takes a breath. She remembers her morning question. She asks herself quietly, what would a calm, patient, curious person do? And with that, she approaches the problem gently, step by step, without fear. She feels strong. She feels capable. She feels like she is becoming the version of herself she wants to be. During her break, she sits by a window and listens to a short English clip again. She only listens for 1 minute, but that minute fills her with peace. She repeats a few words quietly and smiles. She thinks about how different her life is now. Learning English used to be something she felt she had to do. Now it is something she enjoys doing, something that feels like part of her identity, something that grows with her, morning by morning. When she comes home in the evening, the sky is a soft blue-gray, preparing for sunset. She makes a warm drink and sits near her window. She watches the city slowly settle down. She feels grateful for her day. She feels grateful for her routine. She feels grateful for her question. She opens her journal again and writes an evening reflection. This morning helped me become a better version of myself. She reads it, smiles, and gently closes the journal. Before going to bed, she stands by the window one more time. The night sky feels calm. The world feels quiet. She feels at peace. She whispers softly, tomorrow, I will ask myself again. She knows that every morning is another beginning, another chance, another step toward the person she wants to become. She lies down, pulls her blanket around her, closes her eyes, and falls asleep with a soft smile, ready for another gentle sunrise. On the 8th morning of our story, Anna wakes up feeling something she hasn't felt in a long time: lightness, a quiet and gentle lightness that spreads through her body as soon as she opens her eyes. She doesn't know why she feels this way. Nothing big happened yesterday, nothing unusual, nothing extraordinary. But sometimes mornings bring emotions we don't expect, and today, she feels like she is floating softly above her worries, almost like the world is giving her a silent hug. She turns her head toward the window and notices the soft shape of daylight behind the curtains. She stretches her toes inside her blanket and smiles quietly. She whispers to herself, "Good morning," and the sound of her own voice feels warm and comforting, like a small sunrise inside her chest. She sits up slowly, letting her body adjust to the new day. Her mind feels calm, and she enjoys the feeling before standing up. She walks to the window and opens the curtains. The sky surprises her. Today, the clouds are painted in soft shades of lavender and pale gold, almost like a watercolor painting. She wasn't expecting such colors. She wasn't expecting such beauty. She stands there for a moment, holding the curtains open with both hands, breathing in the calm beauty of the morning. She thinks to herself, every day is a little different. And for the first time, she understands that this is one of the reasons she loves her new routine. Her mornings are simple, yes, but they are never boring. Each one brings something new, a different feeling, a different light, a different thought. Her routine is steady, but life itself continues to surprise her. She opens the window, and the air feels warm and mild, almost like spring is quietly arriving. She hears the distant sound of children laughing, even though it's still early. Maybe it's a group of children walking to an early practice, or maybe a family leaving for a trip. The sound makes her smile. She hears a soft wind moving through the leaves of a tree outside. She hears a bird trying a new melody, different from the usual morning song. These tiny surprises feel like gifts. They make her feel connected to the world around her, more awake, more alive. She closes her eyes for a moment and lets the sounds mix together, creating a gentle morning music. She stretches her arms slowly above her head, enjoying the way her muscles wake up. She bends gently toward her feet, feeling her body open with each slow breath. She moves her neck from side to side, releasing the last bit of tightness from sleep. She loves how stretching feels now. It is no longer something she forces herself to do. It is something she looks forward to. It is a moment when she feels her body waking up kindly, not with pressure, not with rush, but with softness. As she stretches, she remembers the first days of her routine, when her body felt stiff and resistant. Now her body feels like it trusts her morning rhythm. And she thinks to herself, small changes grow quietly. She walks to the kitchen and pours a glass of water. As she drinks, she watches a small reflection of the sunlight dance on the surface of the water. It looks like tiny stars moving inside the glass. Another small surprise. Another tiny moment of beauty. She drinks slowly, enjoying the cool taste and the refreshing feeling. When she places the glass down, she feels the question from yesterday returning softly. What kind of person do I want to become? Today, the question feels different. It feels playful, curious, open. It doesn't pull her toward answers. It invites her to explore. She sits down in her usual corner and takes out her phone for her English listening practice. Today, she chooses a simple English story with natural, slow narration. She presses play and lets the voice fill the room. She listens to the first few sentences and notices something surprising. She understands them easily. Not because the story is simple, but because she is more relaxed, more open, more confident. She doesn't freeze when she hears a new word. She doesn't panic when a sentence sounds fast. She lets the language flow around her like warm water. She repeats a phrase softly. Every day brings small surprises. The words feel nice on her tongue. She repeats them again, slower this time. She smiles, feeling the language settle more deeply inside her. After the audio finishes, she opens her journal and writes her morning sentence. Today she writes, "Small surprises make life beautiful." She underlines the word beautiful, then writes it one more time at the bottom of the page, slowly, carefully, enjoying the shape of each letter. She sits with her journal open for a moment, thinking about all the little surprises she has already experienced this morning, the colorful sky, the warm air, the children's laughter, the dancing light on her water, the ease of understanding English. She realizes that she didn't create these moments with her routine, but her routine helps her notice them. Without rushing, without checking her phone immediately, without drowning in morning stress, she has space to see beauty in small things. She steps outside onto her balcony for her usual morning minute. A soft breeze touches her face, carrying the smell of flowers from a garden nearby. She looks down and sees an older man walking slowly while holding a fresh cup of coffee. He takes a small sip, tilts his head back, and smiles at the sky as if greeting an old friend. This simple moment makes her heart warm. She looks up at the sky again, noticing that the colors have changed, the lavender is fading, and the pale gold is growing brighter. She realizes that even within a few minutes, the world changes in small ways. And she whispers to herself, I want to be the kind of person who notices. She walks back inside and begins preparing her breakfast. Today, she cuts an apple into thin slices and places them carefully on a plate. She warms her tea and watches the steam rise in gentle swirls. She moves slowly, not because she must, but because she enjoys it. As she eats, she thinks about a conversation she had at work earlier in the week. A coworker asked her why she seems calmer these days. She didn't give a long explanation. She just said, "I changed my mornings." But now, as she eats her breakfast, she realizes something deeper. She didn't just change her mornings. She changed the way she enters her day. She changed the way she listens to herself. She changed the way she moves, breathes, and grows. And these changes are creating small surprises everywhere. After breakfast, she gets ready for work. As she brushes her hair, she repeats one sentence from her morning English story. Every day brings small surprises. She looks at herself in the mirror and smiles. She likes this sentence. She likes its truth. She likes its softness. She whispers it again, enjoying the gentle rhythm of the words. Then she takes her bag and leaves her apartment. Outside, the world feels alive. She notices the smell of fresh bread from a nearby bakery. She sees a small cat sleeping in a sunny spot near the building entrance. She hears someone humming a familiar song quietly. Each of these moments feels like a small surprise that makes her morning walk feel fresh and bright. She walks slowly, breathing in the soft air. She feels like she is not just moving to work. She is moving through life with open eyes. At work, she stays calm even when things get busy. She listens to her coworkers with patience. She answers emails with clarity. She handles a sudden problem with a steady breath. She remembers the sentence from her morning, "Small surprises make life beautiful." She smiles quietly because she is beginning to see small surprises even in her workday. A coworker brings her a cup of tea without being asked. A customer sends a kind message. A mistake she made is easily fixed. These moments remind her that life is full of gentle surprises, both inside and outside her routine. During her afternoon break, she takes out her phone and listens to another short English clip. She closes her eyes as she listens and feels her body relax. She repeats a few words softly, practicing their shape, their sound, their music. She feels her confidence growing again, quietly, gently, naturally. She thinks to herself, "I am learning even on my busiest days." When she returns home in the evening, she feels tired, but in a warm, satisfying way. She prepares dinner slowly, enjoying the familiar rhythm of cooking. After eating, she sits by her window with a warm drink and watches the sky changing again, this time toward soft evening colors. She thinks about her day, about the surprises it gave her, about the peace she carried through each moment. She opens her journal and writes her evening reflection. Today felt full of quiet beauty. She closes her journal gently and leans back in her chair. The room feels warm, soft, peaceful. She hears the quiet sound of the city settling down. She feels grateful for her routine, for her mornings, for the surprises that life gives her when she slows down enough to see them. She takes one last deep breath and whispers, "Tomorrow will bring new surprises." She smiles, feeling calm and ready for rest. She goes to bed, pulls the blanket around her, closes her eyes, and falls asleep with a soft heart, knowing that her morning routine is not only shaping her days, it is shaping the way she sees the world. On the 8th morning of our story, Anna wakes up feeling something she hasn't felt in a long time: lightness, a quiet and gentle lightness that spreads through her body as soon as she opens her eyes. She doesn't know why she feels this way. Nothing big happened yesterday, nothing unusual, nothing extraordinary. But sometimes mornings bring emotions we don't expect, and today, she feels like she is floating softly above her worries, almost like the world is giving her a silent hug. She turns her head toward the window and notices the soft shape of daylight behind the curtains. She stretches her toes inside her blanket and smiles quietly. She whispers to herself, "Good morning," and the sound of her own voice feels warm and comforting, like a small sunrise inside her chest. She sits up slowly, letting her body adjust to the new day. Her mind feels calm, and she enjoys the feeling before standing up. She walks to the window and opens the curtains. The sky surprises her. Today, the clouds are painted in soft shades of lavender and pale gold, almost like a watercolor painting. She wasn't expecting such colors. She wasn't expecting such beauty. She stands there for a moment, holding the curtains open with both hands, breathing in the calm beauty of the morning. She thinks to herself, every day is a little different. And for the first time, she understands that this is one of the reasons she loves her new routine. Her mornings are simple, yes, but they are never boring. Each one brings something new, a different feeling, a different light, a different thought. Her routine is steady, but life itself continues to surprise her. She opens the window, and the air feels warm and mild, almost like spring is quietly arriving. She hears the distant sound of children laughing, even though it's still early. Maybe it's a group of children walking to an early practice, or maybe a family leaving for a trip. The sound makes her smile. She hears a soft wind moving through the leaves of a tree outside. She hears a bird trying a new melody, different from the usual morning song. These tiny surprises feel like gifts. They make her feel connected to the world around her, more awake, more alive. She closes her eyes for a moment and lets the sounds mix together, creating a gentle morning music. She stretches her arms slowly above her head, enjoying the way her muscles wake up. She bends gently toward her feet, feeling her body open with each slow breath. She moves her neck from side to side, releasing the last bit of tightness from sleep. She loves how stretching feels now. It is no longer something she forces herself to do. It is something she looks forward to. It is a moment when she feels her body waking up kindly, not with pressure, not with rush, but with softness. As she stretches, she remembers the first days of her routine, when her body felt stiff and resistant. Now her body feels like it trusts her morning rhythm. And she thinks to herself, small changes grow quietly. She walks to the kitchen and pours a glass of water. As she drinks, she watches a small reflection of the sunlight dance on the surface of the water. It looks like tiny stars moving inside the glass. Another small surprise. Another tiny moment of beauty. She drinks slowly, enjoying the cool taste and the refreshing feeling. When she places the glass down, she feels the question from yesterday returning softly. What kind of person do I want to become? Today, the question feels different. It feels playful, curious, open. It doesn't pull her toward answers. It invites her to explore. She sits down in her usual corner and takes out her phone for her English listening practice. Today, she chooses a simple English story with natural, slow narration. She presses play and lets the voice fill the room. She listens to the first few sentences and notices something surprising. She understands them easily. Not because the story is simple, but because she is more relaxed, more open, more confident. She doesn't freeze when she hears a new word. She doesn't panic when a sentence sounds fast. She lets the language flow around her like warm water. She repeats a phrase softly. Every day brings small surprises. The words feel nice on her tongue. She repeats them again, slower this time. She smiles, feeling the language settle more deeply inside her. After the audio finishes, she opens her journal and writes her morning sentence. Today she writes, "Small surprises make life beautiful." She underlines the word beautiful, then writes it one more time at the bottom of the page, slowly, carefully. enjoying the shape of each letter. She sits with her journal open for a moment, thinking about all the little surprises she has already experienced this morning. S.